Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of Twisted Tuesdays. I am joined again with my co-host, our office manager, Megan, my wife, Megan Johansen. Say hi.
Hi. They know who I am. I did the video yesterday.
Yep, so whenever you guys call in and you hear a sweet voice on the end of the line, that's hers.
For now.
We are growing quickly, thank you, even though, life has been stressful for all of us. We've been blessed and the word's getting out, and so our office is growing to the point where we're going to start hiring new staff. So you may hear new voices or see new faces, but don't worry, we'll make sure that they're top notch, just like we are. Right? So what we wanted to do today for Twisted Tuesdays is we wanted to show you guys every single lab that I've done for myself and every single lab that Megan has done for herself.
Well, really, we just wanted to take you along our health journey. It's not over.
Yep.
We're going through it, just like you guys are. So I thought, let's show them.
Exactly. Health journeys can be very expensive.
Yeah.
I can't count, I don't want to count the thousands of dollars that I've spent on my mental health, even though at the time you believe it's worth it, but the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars put into it, the return really wasn't that great. So why we're doing this presentation today is that for the price that you pay for a test, which, by the way, here at the Wellness Way, we do not upcharge for our lab testing.
No, what we pay the labs is what you guys pay.
Yep.
That's it.
We make zero money for you to get your information so that we can have that available to sit down and go over a course of care. Okay? So that's the fun part, is you come in, cash price, or if you want to try to run it through your insurance, we can make a photocopy of the labs that we're requesting. Now keep in mind, our lab testing is very extensive, which means it's very good, it tells us a lot of information, and it gets results.
But through insurance, lots of times it'll be extremely expensive. So we've worked with the labs to get it down to a really affordable cash price. So if you choose to run it through your insurance, don't be angry at us if it comes back for a few $1,000s. That might be what you cover instead of the $200 you would pay here.
Okay. So again, our main focus as your health advocates is to get you the best care at the cheapest, most affordable price possible.
Because we want you to get better.
Yep. And we've been there. We've been there.
We're still there.
So just real quick rundown of our health. Megan and I would often joke, if you put both of us together, you can make one decent person. Because I suffer, or I'm recovering from severe anxiety and depression. So most of my health issues come from my head or my brain.
Yeah, mental health. Mine is physical.
Yep.
I was diagnosed with scoliosis when I was 9 years old, and I've dealt with chronic pain ever since. And then on top of that, major thyroid issues, kidney issues. Most of my organs have been squished and failing at one point or another.
Yep. So Megan's been challenged
Physically.
physically, I've been challenged mentally.
So together we are one person.
So when we look at the labs, you'll see why. Now what's interesting is both Megan and I, we have a drive to not just succumb to our illnesses.
Yeah.
How easy could it be for Megan with one curve in her mid-back being at 90 degrees and the other curve in the lower back 55 degrees? Now this is a spine. This is not a spine, but she was standing on that. She could have given into the morphine. She could have given into the Percocets and all the hydrocodone and Oxycontin and all of those medications. She was a golden child for an overdose in the future due to pain medications.
I refused opioids because I had a family member that became addicted to opioids, and we took care of her for a few months after she got out of rehab, and that was awful.
Yeah.
I watching her go through that, I didn't never wanted to touch it, so I just dealt with the pain. I never used any NSAIDs or other pain relievers because they didn't work, and I didn't want to damage my organs. So I just suffered through the pain.
And then on my side, with mental illness such as anxiety and depression, my family did an awful job communicating that. We all have it at some level, but to show weakness in our family was not taught very well. We were perfect people inside the house. We were perfect people outside the house. We could not shed a tear. We could not falter. And for somebody who has anxiety and depression, do you think that makes them feel better about themselves or freak out? And it does. It made me freak out. And so luckily my family, they're becoming more vocal, because one of the things that we tend to do is reclude ourselves. We like to hide. We like to get away from people. We don't like to talk to people. Not because we don't like you, we just don't like it.
The interaction is exhausting.
The interaction is exhausting. So even at a family reunion, you can hear a pin drop. We like to party, but we're not the
Whereas my
craziest.
family is like crazy loud.
Yeah, I'm walking around the house like this. So anyways, enough about us. I think we've done a good job explaining our
Our
background.
history.
Yeah, let's take a look at our labs. And what's fun is we'll bounce between one another. So we'll
Because we did things a little bit differently, because I've been dealing with my physical pain for a very long time, so I could wait. I didn't want to, but I could wait a little bit.
She was more stable. She was in incredible pain and debilitation, but she was stable at that level.
Is that sad? I was stable at my disability.
But me, I was not.
He was nosediving.
I was nosediving, and I knew it because I've done it before in my life. Okay? So fortunately, Megan and I, we have a friend who works for a company called The Wellness Way, and we reached out to them because I was looking for a new career opportunity. And I said, how do you like the company? Do you enjoy them? Are they honest people? Do they do honest dealings with their patients? What is it like? Is it a
because
scam?
what does the Bible say? By their fruits you shall know them.
Oh, very good. Absolutely.
And I watched her. We watched her for a year.
Yep, and we started watching Dr. Patrick's videos to see if he's talking BS or if I could shoot holes through his theory or his way of thinking, because that's what I'm built to do. I'm very good at
He's
finding.
very skeptical.
I'm very good at finding weaknesses in people's arguments, but there was enough value and enough uniqueness about the Wellness Way that drew my attention. So I quit my career that I had for 4+ years, established, didn't have to worry about anything, gave that all up so I can actually do something that I'm more passionate about.
Yeah.
Well, passionate about and selfish, because I need this
Yeah.
just as much as you guys need it, and Megan needed this just as much as you guys need
Well,
it.
and the other night when you were giving,
we're not hypocrites.
Yeah.
We all are in need of
Sure.
something,
and
right?
the other night when you were giving the presentation to Arizona Stands Up, and you mentioned, I really love biology, and this is biology.
Oh, do you want me to explain that a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay. So the last week we.
No, it was like anyway, yeah.
It was last week, right?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But it's fine.
Woo! Time flies.
Yes, it does.
We are involved with a group that are actively trying to develop a court case against Governor Ducey so that we could actually have them try to prove. It's called discovery.
Yeah.
We wanted to get into the legal process further enough. It comes to a stage called discovery, where each side has to present their material that supports their argument or their side.
So
That's where we wanted to get, because we wanted to show the judge that they had no scientific evidence or proof of anything
for keeping the state of emergency.
for
Basically.
mandating masks, social distancing, closing businesses, schools are all a mess. we wanted to show in all of those areas how there was no scientific basis to the damage that is being caused. So the cure that they're promoting as currently is worse than the illness itself. And so that's what we're doing with Stand Up Arizona.
So we had all the volunteers come in and we gave a presentation on the immune system, and one thing he mentioned during that was talking about his bachelor's in human biology, and how this is just basic human biology. Like, if you can understand how the body functions and how it all works together.
If you know how to grow a house plant, you know how to grow.
What was this?
Oh, this is my my funny saying. I don't know if you can hear that.
They can see that.
It says, don't forget to drink water and get sun. You're basically a house plant with complicated emotions.
I love it.
So we keep this in the front room, in the waiting room, so people can understand we are all living organisms. That's why I always say my bachelor's of science in human biology, I lean more heavily on that with the wellness way approach than any other degree that I have. Because if you approach the body as a biologist, you want to see what goes in, what happens while it's in there, and then where does the waste products go. That's what a biologist does. It studies where do you get your food, how do you process it, and how do you eliminate it. If every doctor turned into a biologist, oh, it would be sweet. And you'll see why, because check this out. So the way that I break down how I take in a new patient and explain the approach on how we go about looking for problems. We call those stressors. So there's 3 stressors that we're always looking for at the Wellness Way. We got traumas, physical traumas, getting hit. We have toxins, things that we put in our body, on our body, or around us. And the third one is our thoughts. So that's the one that I'm always very challenged with, is my stinking thinking. And then Megan, hers is her physical trauma mostly. Let's just keep it that simple, right? So yeah. So life begins with 3 things: breathing, drinking, and eating. We have to do those 3 things every day. So the first area that I look for where you're dying or where you're sick is, what are you putting down your mouth and putting into your intestines? And we call that a food allergy test. So we have the capability of actually drawing. Now, there's a lot of food allergy tests out there, and most of them are crap. Okay, they are not scientifically based. They're third-partied. There's people that'll sell it, and then they'll give it to another lab to do the analysis, and it's a mess. I've seen it too many times. Okay, so we use a company called Immunolabs. They're the best in the country. We do 110 food allergies. We do 2 different type, and I'll explain that in just a second. But why? Why start there, Dr. Johansen? The reason being is if you're poisoning yourself every single day, whether you know it or not, it's going to destroy your blood. It's going to destroy your liver function, and you're not going to be able to excrete or get rid of those toxins fast enough, and then you become an average American. We're all dying of cancer, heart disease, strokes, diabetes, malnutrition. Basically, we're dying. We have too many calories and too few nutrients in our diets. And where's Fauci saying that? Where's our government proclaiming these simple things?
Yeah.
We have very poor leadership, so that's why we have to be the voice of reason for you guys. I mean, take it if you want it. These are always our opinion, but they're always based on over 8 years of studying, so it comes with a little bit of grain of salt. All right. So first things first, we always got to check your food, because if you're eating foods that your immune system think it's cancer, it's going to treat it like cancer while it's sitting in the stomach. Yeah. It's going to attack, and we're going to bloat, and we're going to gain weight, and we're going to ferment, and we're going to get sick, and we're going to create all sorts of methanes and
And the
sulfur.
intestinal wall is only 1 cell thick, so once that gets through, it can go anywhere into the body.
Yep.
And attack any other process.
So if we're screwing up, if we're not doing step 1 properly, all of that stuff that you just put in your body is now, all that blood is going to carry all of that food to our organs. The first organ is the liver. So again, if our immune system can't keep all the trash in the bowel and it leaks into the blood, we call that leaky gut. What will happen is all that blood first goes to our liver. Our liver is one of our master organs. It does over 500 different chemical reactions a day. So if you give it at least one more to do, you've already angered it. Think about it. You go to work, you have 500 tasks, and by the 499th, your boss comes down and drops a whole new stack on your plate. Here's the things to do. That was you eating dinner. You basically stressed your liver out because you ate a bunch of food allergies, and now all night long, you won't be able to sleep because this liver is going to be trying to digest things, and it's just going to keep you stimulated all night long.
Yeah.
There's chemicals that I could tell you why that happens, but we're going to keep this light and friendly. Okay?
We just gotta hurry because.
Yes, soccer practice. We have a girls' soccer practice too. So first thing first, check the foods. Make sure you're not poisoning yourself every single day. Second thing we do, blood test. Let's see, once you have absorbed whatever it is you've been eating currently, let's see what it's doing to your body. First things first, it's going to cause inflammation. Second thing it's going to do is going to fatigue your organs. Our organs are just like our muscles. You overuse them, they get sore and they get weak, okay? When an organ is sore and weak and bombarded by toxins, how do you think the productions of hormone go?
Not well. I will tell you that.
So hormones are the last thing that start to go awry when our body is being sick. And it unfortunately is the first thing that major medical will look for, and that's the only thing they'll give you.
Well,
They'll skip the first couple steps and they'll only address the very last symptom of the disease.
Well,
they won't tell you.
What's the reason why though? They're doing the labs to know what medications to put you on.
Yep.
So if there's not a medication associated with it, well then there's no point in them running the lab. Insurance won't pay for it.
Yep.
What do they care?
Yep. What do they care? So again, once our body is done, once the blood has done its thing, there's hormones, there's toxins, there's everything in our bloods. We're going to pee it out or we're going to poop it out. And that way we can monitor what's going in, how the body's using it, and then how much of that waste is actually getting out. So have you ever heard of a term called estrogen dominance? Well, did you know that there's actually an enzyme in your intestines that if you have too much of, you'll never get rid of your estrogen dominance because this enzyme blocks your ability to purge old hormones. So you just collect more and more and more and more.
Fun times.
Well, that's a little nugget of knowledge for you.
Alright, next slide.
Next slide. These are our tests. All right.
When's yours?
This is my first food allergy test, so I'm first.
Well, he's first because we tested him first.
Yep.
So way back in the beginning of last year.
November 10th, 2020. Yep.
Okay, but before that.
Oh.
So the beginning of last year, because this was at the end of 2020, the beginning, we both just we're like, okay, if we're going to be opening this clinic, we got to start practicing what we preach.
Makes sense to me.
I mean, we used to eat this way when we were in school, when we were in Texas, and just life got in the way and we stopped eating very well. So we went back to it. We cut out all the inflammatory foods. We cut out dairy, we cut out gluten, we cut out soy.
You know, the mainstream stuff that you hear
yeah.
here and there, you pick up a few
We
things.
cut out processed foods, and we just really started trying to focus more on
alternative health, you know, natural health.
just focus more on eating clean, because we couldn't get the food allergy test yet.
Yep.
We had to wait until, Anyway, so we started there.
Yeah.
And then that's when we saw huge changes. You know, we both started feeling a lot better. His anxiety and depression was starting to get a lot better. we noticed our swelling in our gut was going down, but we knew that it could be a little better. So that's when we did his food allergy test in November.
Yep. So we're stepping, we're getting better and better each day, right? And trust me, at this office, we will never stop learning. We will never stop progressing towards being better people.
Mm-hmm.
So this food allergy test tests your body against 110 of the most common food allergens that we come across. It is literally a blood draw. Do not do skin prick tests. Don't do any of that. Just get your blood, have them draw it, and then they'll drop a little bit of blood on top of every single one of these food allergens. And then with their special imaging, they're able to watch how your blood reacts to that type of food. Well, guess what? I'm allergic to 34 out of 110 of those foods. I would never have guessed any of them, right? Because we all have our opinions. Oh, I love that food. It can't be that, right? Well, almonds, cauliflower, cabbage, onions, mustard, lettuce, eggs, cucumbers, corn. I literally will die if I eat a salad. But
Well, you
the
won't
world,
literally die, but you'll want to.
I want to, yeah. But the world says no. If you want to lose weight, you got to eat a salad. Well, this test, which is way more scientific than the popular opinion at the time, told me if you eat a salad, you will continue to be sick. Okay? Blew my mind. But it also gives you a nice list of blue foods that when tested, you had no reaction. So now that's my food allergy
So here's
list
the other
that
thing
I shop for.
that I like to point out. 34, that's a lot.
That's a lot. So I'm like a record holder in a weird way.
And it's because he's been highly inflamed and very sick for a very long time.
Yep.
And so clearly when we get something like this back, we know there's an issue in the gut.
Mhm.
We know that now. And now we know we need to do a stool test.
Yep.
We know we need to do further testing because this is causing something.
So this was my routine. I would wake up, I would take 8 to 9 antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. I would go sit down. I would have my pea protein powder with almonds, butter, with peanut butter, with almond milk, and what else would I throw in there? Almost everything that I was allergic to, I was downing in my protein shake every morning, thinking that I was doing myself some good. So no wonder why I've always been on this medications for 15 years. Is because I allowed my own opinions to get in the way of science. Let's speed up a little bit. If you guys are getting bored, don't worry. It's going to get a lot more fun.
Okay, so then next.
This one.
Okay.
So there's 2 types of allergies we will test you for. The first one is called an IgG, and that's where I scored 34. IgG allergies typically will inflame the gut, the joints, and a lot of the muscle tissue.
There's a delayed reaction.
Yes, so after you eat them, you will start kind of feeling the side effects 3 hours up to 3 days. It will sit in your mobility tract.
A couple of weeks.
Yeah, if they're constipated and their bowels aren't moving, that food stays there and continues to leach into their bloodstream, okay? So an IgG allergy, which is this part of mine, IgE, I apologize. So G as in golf and E as in elephant. An IgE allergy is like little Timmy can't have peanuts, so nobody can bring snacks with peanuts to school. That's an IgE allergy. It's an immediate reaction. And here's the kicker. The most common understanding of an IgE allergy reaction is the closing of the airway. Mm-hmm. That's why some people with severe allergies need an EpiPen. Because if your airways are closing because you just had a peanut, you inject epinephrine or adrenaline into you, and that opens the airway and buys you enough time where you can actually live. I have 5 out of the 8. So if it's red, I'm dead. I have 5, which are almond, soy, corn, peanuts, and wheat. Literally, scientifically, I am very incredibly sensitive to my surroundings. Would I have ever guessed that? No. The reason being is I have eaten these my entire life and I've never had my respiratory system shut down.
Yeah.
But I have had my brain go haywire for 15 years. So what does that teach us? That teaches us that the stresses that are put on our bodies will break us down differently. We all get sick differently depending upon the stressor, okay? So what may make me sick may be different than what makes Megan sick, and that's what we'll see. We'll see what her food allergies
So
are.
hang on, before you go. 34 food allergies. Trying to cook for this man, I deserve a gold medal.
And you can see I'm not wasting away.
I deserve a gold medal. One.
It's not like I'm getting a portion slid under the door. And just,
and then 2.
life continues. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Can I talk?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So 2 that goes along with it is because I'm cooking all of the meals. I don't want to cook 3 meals. 1 for him, 1 for me, 1 for the kids. Like, no, I'm cooking 1 meal. And so by default, all of us stopped eating his food allergies.
The whole family suffers.
I mean, we had some of the snacks still that the kids could snack on, that he can't. But really, we all stopped eating his food allergies.
Yep.
So then that brings us to my test.
All right.
We finally just got it back. I've been feeling really good.
But Megan's been getting compliments on her weight loss, and
Which I didn't even realize I had that much weight to lose. Like, I'm 5'7". I was 160. I thought I could get down to like 130 and I'd be happy. But I wasn't really too concerned about it either because I didn't look overweight. I didn't feel bad. I didn't, you know what I mean? But I knew when I had surgery 3 years ago for my back, my skin got really bad, my hair started falling out, my thyroid, I knew it crashed, like it was, I was also diagnosed with Hashimoto's 10 years ago, so that's an autoimmune disorder of your thyroid, is what they say. Anyway, so then I knew that all those symptoms were coming back after surgery. I was a mess, like, like I was just a mess.
so for her to even take the
Insomnia, bad digestion, like, bad.
So we didn't have enough money at the time to do both our testing.
Yeah.
So I did mine first. Luckily, I came back with 34 allergies, which takes a lot of stuff off your plate. So my Megan and my kids started eating based on my allergies.
And I started
Which
feeling really
financially,
good.
if you're in that situation, that's cool. But honestly, everybody needs to have their own allergies.
Oh,
so
yeah.
guess what we did with our stimulus check?
Allergies.
We did.
Okay, now go to mine. I
We
want to
did
show.
Megan's allergies and we did our 14-year-olds, our oldest daughter. We did all 3 tests as well with her. And so when you get money, spend it on yourself, meaning your health. Don't buy a fancier car, don't buy fancier clothes, it's just not worth it because they're nice to have,
If you don't feel
but
good,
if you don't have health,
enjoy
what do
it.
you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright,
so
now it's time to pick on Megan. It's so easy.
I only had 11, and most of them I'd already cut out because of his allergies. The only 2 I hadn't cut out was blackberries and cod, which I don't eat. So that's why I was feeling really good cutting out the inflammatory foods, cutting out of his allergens. Now I'm just going to be more strict with it, so when I'm not with them, I'm going to follow my allergies.
Yep.
But I was already feeling a lot better. I can tell my thyroid symptoms I was having
So we
are
checked it and we're gonna see her blood
going
results
away,
from her
like-
thyroid test.
a lot of things were starting to improve, and I just weighed myself this week and I got down to 115,
I didn't know that. That's the first time I've heard it.
which I haven't been that weight since before high
Congratulations.
school.
Okay.
Can I have a hug?
Good job.
It's weird because because I didn't
it's
even know that I
important to
could.
celebrate these accomplishments.
Well, that and I wasn't trying. I'm
How many
not
times do we
depriving
fail in
myself.
life?
Well, I'm not depriving myself of food. I still have chocolate.
Yeah, she's
on
not
a
starving.
nearly daily
We're not
basis.
counting calories. We don't believe in counting
I'm
calories.
not even like working out hardcore
That's
at
not
the
even a
gym.
thing in this office.
No,
I will never tell you to count a calorie.
but
Okay.
once your body starts functioning, there
So,
we go.
so Megan, what is this section right here?
Those are the foods I can eat.
So with all the stuff that they tell you not to eat because your blood freaked out under the microscope, attacking it like it was cancer, it will also give you the printout of the foods that your blood did not react to in a bad way. So every time you eat these blue foods, your immune system, which is right next to your intestinal tract, will say, it's just like Border Patrol, passport, oh, you're welcome in. These are all welcome visitors. These guys, if they show up to the wall of the intestine and the immune system detects it, it will literally attack it as if it's cancer, a bacteria, a virus, a fungus, or a yeast, or a food allergen. It doesn't distinguish. It just knows you don't belong here.
See you later.
You got to go. And that's where we get this.
Okay.
This is a battleground. So
Okay.
if you're walking around here, that's because there's a big war.
So wait, next,
Next.
because of his food allergens, one thing I would like to point out is it knocked out a lot of your snack foods.
Yeah.
No, he couldn't have any substitutes for gluten. He couldn't have any substitutes for dairy.
Can't eat corn chips because corn.
Nope, no
is-
chips,
I'm
no
severely
crackers,
allergic to
no,
it.
no substitutes. And it knocked out a ton of vegetables.
Yep.
And so the only things he
Things
could
you
really,
think you are healthy, right?
that he could really snack on was fruit. What is fruit? High in?
Sure.
So without realizing it, he was eating a ton of sugar.
Yep.
And then we went on vacation.
Oh, I was realizing it. It tasted good. No,
I did not realize.
I didn't know you were going to tell this story.
Well, you have to.
Okay, go ahead.
So this led to us going on vacation for New Year's Eve. And when we got out to the desert, we had all of our food in an ice chest, and lots of it was some meats, and by like the third day, the ice had melted, and we thought, oh, we're going home tomorrow, no big deal. And I think that's where the bacteria might have gotten introduced into your gut. Because he's been healing it, he didn't have enough good bacteria yet, and bad bacteria got in.
Yep. And I got sick for 6 weeks. So for you patients of ours currently who wondered where I went all of January, it was because my body was healthy enough to actually go in very deep within my intestinal tract and clean out an infection that I've been carrying for a very long time.
And so we're still working on that, which is why we ran further labs to figure out why he was so sick, because it came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, what the heck happened? Let's run more labs. And this is what came back.
So we're seeing triggers of what could be causing our issues, but we're not finding the cause yet. So we dig a little bit deeper.
Gotta find your triggers.
All right. So I ran a male panel. We have different panels depending on the person, type of situation, and all that. So I ran a typical male panel, and these were all out of balance. So yes, my body was struggling big time with an infection and with some bad habits that I had. Okay, let's just cut through here real quick. ALT, that's a liver enzyme that indicates stress and destruction. That's elevated. So I'm stressing out my liver. My triglycerides are at a 342 out of a 150. So yeah, when Megan says that I was snacking on the sweets, I was definitely snacking on the sweets. Because, when you eat a lot of sugar, your liver will convert it to fats, and that's what triglycerides is. So if your triglycerides high, that's also an indicator of you're consuming way too much sugar. Okay? Coming down, everything, let's skip all that. This one right here is called the CRP, C-reactive protein. It is the #1 marker for heart attack and stroke. So we want to keep that number under 1, and as a 37-year-old fit male, I'm scoring a 4.6. I'm scoring 4.6 times higher. My chances of heart attack and stroke, because of the way I'm treating myself while I was getting my blood drawn, was putting me at risk of just keeling over just like that. And I've had way too many male patients walk in pretending that they're okay, and that number is twice as high or 3 times as high. And I honestly tell them we need to act now.
Well, that's your inflammation marker.
Yep. So CRP indicates how much fire, how much inflammation your body is irritated to. The next one, vitamin D, I was at a 14. The lowest you want to be functionally is 30. So 30 to 100 is ideal. I was dying. I was so sick. I was at a 14. Our immune system demands high concentrations of vitamin D in order to control the immune system and also control our gene expression. So if we have a genetic disorder and our vitamin D is low, maybe that could be a cause. Who knows? But even a male, I keep changing my age.
How old are you?
37-year-old male, because I'm in an office all day, I don't get enough sun. So you have to supplement vitamin D. Make sure it's a good source, because typically in Arizona we get our sun throughout the summer. But as soon as it gets chilly, we all hide indoors. And there is no flu season. Let's get past this point. Let's think a little bit different.
It's actually just a lack of vitamin D.
That's it. So as things get colder, as fall comes, flu season typically happens,
You mean
right?
flu just doesn't pop out?
Nope, it doesn't just pop out. Let's think of it as a biologist, okay? Because it's cold, we go indoors. We receive less vitamin D, our immune system drops. Oh, grandma came over, she brought some cookies. I'm gonna hit that cookie tray like it's no other, and I'm gonna eat all those cookies. So now my sugar levels are starting to creep up, which we all know suppresses the immune system again. So I've hit my immune system twice in 2 negative ways, vitamin D and sugar. And Fauci should have been preaching this on day 1 on how not to die from COVID, okay? This is basic biology.
Well, they even found, what,
Basic.
90-something
And he even
percent?
admits he takes vitamin D himself,
Yeah.
but he never said that in a very public government way. He said it off camera somewhere else. It makes me mad, because he knows, but he's not saying.
Well,
Okay.
and the CDC announced that 90-something% of those who died from or with suspected COVID had low vitamin D levels.
There you go. So again, think of it more of a biologist. So am I going to get the flu that last year when I had no vitamin D and I was eating grandma's cookies? You betcha. My chances of catching a flu or a cold go way up. But it doesn't have to happen. Just because it's cold outside does not mean you got to be sick. If I keep my vitamin D levels high and I don't splurge on grandma's cookies, there's no such thing as a flu season at that point.
And it's not a bad thing to get the sniffles. It actually helps build your immune response.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being sick, folks. Human beings, we're designed to be exposed to thousands of different bacteria and viruses every day. So the fact that we're running away from one little meaningless one drives me insane. Because
Seriously.
every day we're killing thousands of different strains, and you don't hear a peep about that. You only hear a peep about the one that they want to terrify you with, which is the COVID-19. The big C. All right,
He's not getting angry at all.
let's break this down a little bit more. Again, this is just the male panel. All right, homocysteine, that's the second most accurate marker for inflammation and B vitamin deficiency. I am scoring a 10, so I'm doing all right there. I had a female, she was 18, last week she came in. Her homocysteine level was low. I've never seen homocysteine be low before. I've always seen it high, so I did some research, because that's what I do. That's what docs do. If they don't know, they should research,
I would
right?
like to call us health detectives.
Health detectives?
Yes.
Okay, so I looked up what causes low histamine, and it says overabundance of a multivitamin containing too many B vitamins. So you can hurt yourself overdosing on these mega multivitamins that have large numbers of B vitamins. It will fatigue your liver. So I've never seen that before, but to see it in an 18-year-old girl kind of freaks you out. We have a guest coming in real quick. Okay.
Do you need these?
Alright, the next one, obviously, just checking out my thyroid. Men have thyroid. We don't really take as much damage to it as women. Not that it's a sexist thing, it just turns out to be that way. Checking it out, seeing what my brain is telling my thyroid, it's just an adequate level. So we jump down to a different marker, CEA. CEA is carcinoembryonic antigen. Hey, I think I got it right. So what that indicates is whether we're growing cancers or we're growing tissues quickly in our body. So we use the CEA marker to screen our patients for cancers, right? So of course I check mine and I'm within reasonable range, so that's okay. That's one thing I can put off to the side as saying maybe that's not my main issue. Second one for men is PSA, prosthetic specific antigen. So we all have prostates down below. I won't go into detail what they do, but they help with a ton of stuff. That's where we store most of our zinc. So if you guys had COVID this year, which all of us had COVID, we've already all had it. We've just had it in different ways because our immune systems are stronger than other people's. So some will get more sick, some will not.
We gotta move on.
Oh, shoot, okay. Maybe we'll just stop the video and do a part 2.
Well, okay, let's do my panel and then we can do part
Okay.
2.
So if you're a person who's been taking high levels of zinc because of COVID, congratulations, that's awesome, that's wonderful. Continue to take it a little bit more after symptoms even disappear. That way you can replenish your zinc reserves, which is mostly in our prostate, okay? All right, and then I checked all my hormones. I checked my estradiol, my DHEA sulfate, which is an adrenal hormone, to see if I'm adrenally stressed. I'm doing good there. I checked my testosterone. I checked a more kind of a dangerous form of testosterone, dihydrotestosterone. And again, I'm a man. I have hormones just as much as women do. So this is just a male panel. Any male can pick it up. It's super simple, okay? And so those were my markers.
So we knew he needed to stop eating sugar.
And let's be honest, I'm a full book. I get the munchies at night sometimes. And we all know where the munchies come from, right? And so to have munchies right before you go to bed will give you numbers just like this. So if you're somebody who's munching late at night, you will score high bad numbers just like this. Just full, just being honest.
Awareness.
Just full awareness, right?
And then we knew we needed to check out his stool.
Yep.
Alright, so this is actually part of the panel I ran on myself. We did a full thyroid with hormones on me because I just needed to know what was going on. Because, like I said, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's 10 years ago.
Yeah, decades ago.
Yeah, we were able to reverse that by me going off of gluten and dairy, at least what we thought back then.
She felt better.
I felt a lot better. I didn't have any symptoms anymore, but we never knew what panels to run.
Yep, nobody would run these panels.
The only thing they ever checked was TSH, T4, or T3 at the most, and that was at my naturopath doctor. So I always try and find the natural way, and I thought that that's what I was doing. But he actually put me on a medication, Synthroid. I tried it for about 6 months, and I hated it. I felt crappy. It didn't help at all whatsoever. So I went off of it, and I started listening to him, and he was telling me to stop eating gluten. And we had already stopped eating dairy because our son was allergic to it, and just by adding that in there, all of my symptoms reversed. And now everybody else is different. What worked for me isn't going to work for you. So don't just think that, oh, I have thyroid problems, I'm going to stop eating gluten and it'll go away. Maybe, but it might not. So with this panel, I just wanted to run and make sure everything was was looking okay, because I feel good. But there's some fine tuning I'd like to do. I have never seen my thyroid numbers, like, in functional ranges. And this one, that's your autoimmune marker. That one's extremely high.
It should be less than 60, and she's scoring 1,149.
So what this tells me is I have an autoimmune trigger. Something's triggering my immune system. I need to find out what that is. And then also, because I am supporting my body with the herbs and the supplements, my thyroid's still functioning.
These are all within functional range, even though she has a massive immune army trying to get in there, clean out all that
So,
nastiness.
Could this be better? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It will be better. That's the fun part. These are chapters in our recovery book.
But I'm excited that, like, oh, my numbers are functional even though it's being attacked.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now I just get to find out what that trigger is, and we found out what that is.
Boom. So
What time is it? Sorry.
again, Megan's vitamin D levels, she was scoring an 18. So male, female, young, old, get your vitamin D levels. Your
Yeah.
immune system, gene expression, bone growth, tissue development, it all depends on vitamin D. So if you were a betting person or you wanted to invest in stock,
I
invest
would
in
say
vitamin
almost
D stock.
everybody
Yeah.
is low in vitamin D. And all these were low because I was fasting. I started fasting the night before, and I wasn't able to get my blood work done until later that afternoon at like 3, I think.
Yeah, so I have a sitting glucose of 47 means starvation, when a 65 to 100 is average. So do you,
I was really hungry.
she was really hungry. So time your blood tests right. Do you want to stop now and save the stool for Fun Fact Friday?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do that.
yeah.
We got it. We have responsibilities outside the
We
office.
have priorities.
We love teaching you guys this, but I gotta get to a bunch of 8-year-old screaming girls and teach them how to kick a ball into
Hey,
a soccer
one of
goal.
those is your kid.
One of them's my kids. But we love sharing this. We will be going, our part 2 will be on Friday. We will be going over our stool test and
I'm
what
really
that
getting
means.
into the triggers on why
Yep.
we were having so many of these symptoms.
So the first thing we showed you was what was causing us to be sick that we were putting into our bodies. The second thing we just showed you are the markers within the blood that can indicate where we're struggling and sick in the body. And then on Friday, we'll talk about the stool test and how that can help us return our health and become healthy, normal people as we are designed to be, but currently we are not because we still haven't figured out your 3
See if they have a
T's:
question.
traumas, toxins, or thoughts. So we've talked about a few of our traumas, toxins, and thoughts, and just like anybody else, we'll discuss that with you as well. So hope to see you guys join us again on Friday. We will be shooting around the same time. If not, you'll always see it on Facebook, but we'll be talking about poop on Friday. Good night, everybody.